Alright, ladies and gents, we all know you guys are here for one reason and one reason only. I'm going to show you the best way for you guys to get mats by going either AFK in your base instead of that pointless, time consuming farming and missions constantly or risking your odds getting scammed in trading. I'm going to show y'all exactly what you got to do to sit AFK in an endurance or a storm shield defense and collect all the mats you want. Alrighty, everyone, to start this off, most of you are going to want to build this in the air above somewhere in your base so you're able to go AFK without husks getting to you, and you can keep it out of the way of everything. For me, this isn't in my home base typically. I keep this in other home bases, but we have to use this one so I can actually build it in here. So if you guys have it up in the air, you can go ahead and place a jump pad, 2 walls like so, and that way when you walk directly into it, it's going to launch you all the way up into this platform. This is where we're going to start this off. If I remember correctly, this is going to take about 4,400 mats per material that you want, as well as it's going to take around 100 or so structures. Make sure you guys have the room for that. I'll try and leave the actual amounts in the description below. Alright guys, after you've built this platform up to where you need it to be, whether that's 20 tiles high, 5 tiles high, or 1 tile like this, you're going to hop up to this first tile, and this is going to be where we begin the mat grinder. If you want, you can take it another tile forwards, or if you're low on tiles, you might as well just save it, and you can start the build from here. We're going to come 1 tile forwards, and we're going to build this to where it's 3 long. You can pick between 2 choices. Sorry to say this, I realized this after I already tore everything down from finishing recording this video, but if you ever come to a point where you need to add wood or something else to your mat farm, let's say you don't only want brick and metal like this one has, go ahead and just take any tiles you can find, edit archways and add archways anywhere you can, add extra cones and any empty tiles, do anything like that, or even attach another layer. So if we have our second layer right here, you could just come up and add some archways on the second layer and even add a third layer on top. I completely forgot to mention it, but just in case you guys need wood, I wanted to make sure you could understand that. In my typical base, I have it start with metal, so we'll go ahead and do that. I have metal like this, as we just built, come forward, and this one's going to be 5 tiles long. This one's going to be 7 tiles long, and you should be able to catch on to the pattern. This last one is going to be 9 tiles long. So as you can see, it's already starting to rack up plenty of builds. Then we're going to go back down to 7. This is going to turn into, I don't know what to call it, maybe like a little pyramid shape maybe. But we're going to go ahead and bring this all the way down until we get back down to 1 tile. This right here is what it should look like. As I said, it should go 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then reverse back down to 1 on the other side. You're going to get this little shape right here. I recommend upgrading this before you do everything, because if you wait till the very end, you're going to be wondering why you're not getting the max amount of materials, and you're going to have to try and search for all of it. Every time it collects materials from your base, can't remember how long it is. I want to say it's every minute you should be getting 150 metal. If for whatever reason you don't get 150, of every material you use on the mat grinder, for example, metal and brick, then something is wrong or something isn't fully placed or, built properly. Also, I typically run Mega Base. It should not affect this at all, but I run Mega Base in my hero loadout. If something doesn't work for you, I highly recommend you throw Mega Base into your support team. Alrighty, here's where it's going to get a little bit confusing. We're going to take some pyramids and we're going to place them perfectly like I do. So we're going to place one on the very first tile, 1 forwards, 2 over, just like so. We're now going to fill in this middle bit again. And we're just going to cover in the entire middle portion, leaving the edges. I'll show you why in a second, because we have to do something specific with the brick. But if you make sure all of the inner tiles are covered, you'll be set up perfectly. Go ahead and max upgrade these, and then we'll deal with the edge tiles. Alright, now it's a little odd, but we're going to go ahead and take our brick and place brick cones on those 2 sides. We'll head down here, place brick on these 2, to where every time we have a little tip pointing out, we're going to place brick. Once again, right here. and right there. This is what it should look like. And on these empty tiles that we still have open, go ahead and place metal. Once you're done, max upgrade all of this. Alrighty, now that we have this area done as shown, you should have this built perfectly. Come to the middle tile of your build. You need to make sure you place these arches exactly where I tell you, or else you won't have proper connection to the bottom layer and you won't be able to get as many materials as you should. We're going to take archways, and now we're in brick again. We should be completely done with metal, so now we're using brick. We're going to surround this area in brick, as well as the 8 tiles around it are also going to be covered in brick archways. So we're going to come out here and just place them exactly as shown. You need all of these tiles to get the max amount. If you don't have enough, then you can go without it, but I highly recommend you do this because without it, you're not going to get the full materials. Then you can edit out any of these 2 tiles on the cone to where it's in this weird little Dorito. That's just going to be so we can put a base down in case you have extra friends that you want to do it. So you will place your base here, and there's also going to be a spot on the top layer. However, you will need mega base to place this to place your base on the top layer. Make sure you upgrade these archways to max, and then we'll go on to the second layer. Alrighty, for the second layer, it's going to be pretty much an exact copy-paste of the bottom layer. The only difference, it's going to be 1 tile shorter, and it's going to have a few less builds. So for the top layer, go ahead and fill in this area right here. For whatever reason, my bumper on my controller doesn't want to work properly, but fill in this completely. Now, how we extended this tile on the bottom layer this far, instead we're going to cut it 1 short. Meaning now this is our first tile, this is our row with 3, our row with 5, and the longest ends up being a row with 7. So extend this out, then once you get to this point, you're going to do the exact same to finish it off on the other side. I got to get more structures, I'll be right back. As I was saying, we're now going to continue this all the way down until we get to 1 tile short of the end. This is going to be our tip. And then go ahead and build the rest on the other half. This should be a lot easier than the bottom layer, but make sure you max upgrade this. That way you don't miss any tiles and you're getting the max amount that you need. And for the final step, we're going to go ahead and place cones. The only issue, on the edges, we are not going to place any. So, on these tiles, those 2, and these 2 right here, we won't place any cones. Everywhere else, we're going to go ahead and fill with cones. Somehow, I still don't have enough. Well, that's fun. Give me 1 moment. Alright, I should have enough tiles to finish this off now, and if I don't, I may cry. Hey, we did it. Alright, make sure you max upgrade the cones for the last step, and then we're pretty much done with this. I just have a few things to mention so that way you guys know how to properly use this farm, but that's going to be pretty much it. So if you guys have enjoyed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a like down below. It helps me out so much, and I'll show you guys how to use this farm. Alright, so when you first start to use this farm, you may come to your storm shield. You're going to have this up in the air or just 1 tile high like this. You're going to come up, hit this bounce pad, and it's just going to throw you up here. Pretty simple. You can now run over here and place your base on this tile right here. About every minute, you should be pulling 150 tiles from your base of every material you put on here. So because we built this with brick and metal, we're going to need to get 150 brick and 150 metal. If you're not receiving this this quantity of stuff, something went wrong with the farm. Make sure all of these tiles in here are highlighted with your base. If they're not, try throwing on mega base and that should fix the problem. Otherwise, whatever tiles aren't being reached, you can always break and replace. So for example, if this cone isn't being reached, I can break this and move it closer to where my base is. There's a bunch of fixes you can do to make sure this farm actually works. And if it doesn't, let me know down below as well. I'll try and troubleshoot with you and figure out why it's not working if those two things don't fix it. In total, we used about 5,000 of each. Don't look at the brick because I did have to tear down a bunch of stuff, as you can see over there, to get structures. So I was being constantly fed more brick. It should be about 5,000 of each material used. Brick and metal are the same amount. And the last thing about this build, which I find pretty neat, is in my Canny Valley, I have to use this. But you can take directional or jump pads, place them on these corners here if you have the bonus tiles, and then you'll be able to super jump far away. Oh, I just realized I missed a tile. Make sure you guys have this tile right there on the edges. Every point should have a tile as well. But you can take jump pads or anything, place them on the edges, and that way if something's going wrong with your endurance, or you were AFK and you need to fast travel, you can just run, hit them, and go wherever you need to be. But that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this helps you out. And this is by far one of the best ways to farm materials in Fortnite Save the World. So make sure you guys throw this in your endurance. And if you haven't found an AFK endurance build, I've got my Canny Valley one posted. So make sure you guys go check that out. But without further ado, I'll catch y'all in the next one.